Welcome back to another edition of the Sunbelt Syndicate as we continue to preview the baseball season. But I guess I should say it's not just any episode. The James Madison Baseball Preview is the 250th audio episode of the podcast we've ever put out. It's also my pleasure to welcome Jack Anderson and Coach Tanner. And you're going to have to help me with the pronunciation here. I don't want to butcher it the first time I say it.
Biagini.
Biagini. You know, the guy with the last name Crosetto is Italian. I probably should have been able to get that, but unfortunately, I don't know. I think I would have been close. But pleasure to have you guys on again. This is the first time we've had James Madison athletes or coaches on the show, so this is a cool thing for me and hopefully our viewers and listeners as well. I hope you guys are staying warm up there in Harrisonburg, Virginia.
Trying our best for sure.
Coach, you were saying before we went live here with the recording that you guys are practicing in a bubble. Is this something that is up for only a few months a year, or is this something that, you know, they have up kind of around the sports calendar so that you guys have a place to practice when weather is inclement like it has been here recently?
Yeah, it's near Centera Park, which hosts our soccer, lacrosse, and track and field programs, and it's like a 55-yard football field with markings and stuff for other sports. So it's the first time in Coach Eichenberry's tenure we've had to go over there, but the ice was a little tough, so it took a while to get the field cleared off. But it was nice. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure Jack and his teammates appreciate not having to practice out in the cold, right, Jack?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, we made the most of our indoor facility, but you can't really simulate games or ground balls in the indoor. So it was nice to be able to put out a full infield and do that. And it was honestly good since you're not on the turf with the baseball lines and everything. You have to like be more spatially aware with your angles and everything. So that was definitely challenging at first, but I think good for us just to be more aware of how we're moving and the angles that we need to be on the infield at least.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But this is probably not something new for you either. With where you come from, the part of the country, tell the people where you're from and also how you ended up at James Madison from that area of the country.
Yeah, so I'm from Medina, Minnesota. I was playing fall ball in Minnesota. You'll do spring ball, high school, and then play summer ball for your club. And then fall ball is kind of hit or miss because a lot of guys play football. And so we would have these practices and like 6 of us would be there. And this coach that was helping out, he played on the JMU World Series team in 1983. And he has a relationship with Coach Ike. And so he was like, hey, have you ever thought about JMU? And I had heard of it because of the softball World Series trip in 2020, I believe. So I knew what JMU was. I was like, I mean, yeah, I'm very interested. Like, get me in touch. I'd love to talk to Coach Ike. We talked, came to a camp November of my junior year, hit a triple at the camp. Coach Ike seemed to like that a little bit. And then we talked for a long, long time, and he eventually gave me an opportunity the fall of my senior year. So committed, and then the rest is kind of history.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Well, Coach, you're not unfamiliar with Coach Ike yourself. You played for him back at VMI, and now on the staff, you move over from Radford this past season. Tell us a little bit about how that came to be and, you know, how it is playing for Ike now from what you see and deal with and how it was when you were playing underneath him as a player.
I always mess with him that he's gotten soft in his old age with what he allows these guys to do, and, be in shorts when it's hot and, all that kind of stuff. But they've got every little item ready for them, and we feed them all the time now and stuff. It's a lot different than here's 3 guys, here's $20, go find something to eat days. But a lot different budget too from where I was playing at. So, but no, it's kind of crazy full circle. Actually, the head coach at Radford used to be in this position at JMU and worked under Coach Ike. And when I took the job at Radford, he actually said, come down here, let's have some success. Let's, turn you into a head coach somewhere or turn you into an assistant in a bigger conference like the Sunbelt. He just didn't think it'd be a year only. So, happened really fast. I'm sure luckily my wife and my kids have dealt with the moves well, but I'm sure they're ready to stick. So we're really excited to be at JMU.
Yeah, because you guys have been kind of all over. Well, I think Townsend is in Maryland, correct? Or is that it's like just north of Virginia, though?
Yeah, it's just north of Baltimore.
Okay. So you know the area well. That was kind of going to lead into my next question is you're recruiting. Obviously now it's probably national. And we've got Jack here who's from a state that most people probably wouldn't have picked out that a whole lot of JMU baseball players would come from. But what does that do for you kind of being familiar with the area and the recruiting hotbeds that you can find over there in Virginia, Maryland? Well, really probably most of the East Coast, but I'll let you expand on that.
Yeah, I've kind of been all over. I mean, I've worked this is my third school in Virginia now. I got my start at University of Richmond. And then I was at Lafayette College in Pennsylvania before Towson University in Baltimore. But I grew up in North Carolina, and grew up kind of traveling the East Coast anyway for my dad's job. So it helps. I feel like I know a good hotbed of coaches at the high school level and the travel ball level and have a good reputation on that. And I think it also helps that we have other assistants as well that kind of can do that and have a lot of connections, and then tie yourself in with Coach Eichenberry. I mean, he knows everybody. Like he's actually hard to go recruiting with because everybody wants to talk to him in the parking lot on the way into the complex. But so it's been great, and it's been an easy thing to learn from him for sure. He's taught us a lot in the short months we've been with him.
That's awesome. I love to hear that, especially when a kid in Minnesota has heard of him and familiar with that aspect too. That's pretty cool. It's also cool. I haven't heard of the fact that you kind of heard of JMU from the softball aspect, Jack. That's actually pretty cool. You hear a lot of people say the football aspect, friends that went there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool that you're looping in with obviously a successful program on the softball side of things as well. You guys aren't far removed, though. I mean, just 2 seasons ago, James Madison found themselves in the NCAA tournament for baseball. I know, we had a couple teams, and honestly, you look at the whole conference landscape, we had 2 teams go to the tournament last year, obviously Coastal getting as far as they did. But I would say overall, a little bit of a surprise. We only had 2 teams end up in the tournament. What kind of things have you guys done, Jack, in the offseason as players specifically to kind of get back to that spot you guys were at just recently?
I mean, we have a few returners. So I wasn't on that team. I'm a sophomore, but we have a few upperclassmen that were fortunate to be on that team. So they definitely know what it's like to be in those situations. And they've just instilled that hardworking work ethic in all of the younger guys. Obviously last year, we didn't make it to where we wanted to make it, but we were able to build on last year with just the hard work that we put in with everyone that came back. So I'd say they knew how to work hard on that team that made the regional, and they kind of gave that to the younger guys. And we've been doing a really good job throughout the offseason of focusing on that and focusing on the process, and then just focusing on the season that's coming up and not really dwelling on the past.
Nice. I like that. And I'm sure it's helpful. I want both your guys' thoughts on this one. I'll start with Jack again here. But when you see the success that football had, right, and then the stuff that basketball has had in the recent past, and again, getting baseball there 2 years ago, does that help push you guys overall as, players on the current team and coach, as a staff to also keep that pedigree across James Madison sports in general to kind of get back and get this program back to where you want it?
Yeah, I know in 2024 they were selling T-shirts that said JMU is an everything school, because that was the year we made the regional, made March Madness. That was the year of game day and going 11-1 in football. So I think there's definitely a pride of wanting to be good at every sport, and there's definitely that feeling of community within the athletic teams. Women's lacrosse is a top 20 team in the country. Like, we all want to be good and we all push each other to be great. So yeah, I'd say just we want to be great, and having those teams push us is pretty awesome. And then I'd add that it was pretty cool when I first committed. I would tell people, hey, I'm going to JMU, and they'd say, what's that? Being from Minnesota, no one had really heard of it. And now it's like, hey, I go to JMU, and they know instantly where I go to school. So it's kind of fun not having to explain it anymore. and just we're becoming a national powerhouse.
Yeah, I had to get used to everybody yelling
Absolutely.
"Go Dukes"
Coach?
at us when we travel.
Mhm.
I took the job, and my wife and kids were actually at the beach, and Coach Eichen giving them a couple T-shirts, a couple pieces of swag for them for the move. And my wife said they were at a restaurant. They're like trying to walk to the table, and people were just screaming "Go Dukes," and she had zero clue like what was going on. So it's definitely a place that's very, very proud, and I've yet to meet an alumni that didn't love his experience or his or her experience and love this place. So just moving like in the community, we live probably 10 minutes away from campus, and our neighborhood is just full of alums or people that work there. And they're just constantly in purple and gold, and it's all year round. It's not just about one sport. They want all the sports to be good, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I think one of you can remind me maybe, but when you talk, Jack, about all the other schools that had qualified for baseball, basketball, and football postseason, every other school that was included in that, which was, I think there was only 4 or 5 across the entire country, was a power program, right?
Mhm.
And we know that we are labeled as mid-majors for most sports, although on this show, the 3 of us that are usually on here all like to say that the sunbelt can be considered the mid-major for the basketball level. They can be considered a group of 5 or 6, whatever it is these days. But when it comes to baseball, we don't think these programs or this conference should be labeled a mid-major. We have power programs in this conference for baseball, and from top to bottom, very, very talented teams. So, Coach, talk about coming over from Radford and what your thoughts are on the outside from the Sunbelt perspective coming in, and what you're seeing maybe on the field that is already kind of picked up the pace or been a little bit different from where you were at. I mean, that's no disrespect to Radford in that sense. You guys will see them this year, but I would assume that there's some differences coming from Radford to James Madison.
Certainly. I think there's a physicality point that we talk about with guys changes a little bit recruiting wise. Like we had a camp last weekend, and there was a hitter there that we were looking at, and it's like, all right, like that's a potential power hitter in our conference. He's already, over 6'3". He's like already swinging the bat at whatever speed, hitting the ball at whatever speed. So you're looking at that, and you're looking at programs that have been respected for years, and to say that there's already, I think, 3 that could be in the argument right now to be in the preseason top 25. That shows itself that it's going to be a gauntlet of a conference. And I think that's what we all strive for. Like, we played sports because we're competitive and we want to compete. So as a coach, you want the same thing. And I think it's easy to talk to these guys about that. And, if you really want to go to that level, like you're in this conference, you play well in this conference, you have a chance to play after college. But also you play well in this conference, you have a chance to make a name nationally as a program. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. And speaking of playing after college, you did some of that for the Tampa Bay Rays organization, if I read correctly. Did you ever make it to Durham, or was that part of the I don't, I know that stuff changes too. I don't know if that at the time when you were playing, if they were part of that Tampa Bay Rays organization or not.
Yeah, they were way above my talent level at that time. Durham has been a AAA team for them for a long time. I was just an A-ball guy.
Okay.
Sorry,
gotcha.
my wife.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know. I know those teams in the minors. They switch affiliations every once in a while. I'm asking because I'm local to Durham. I go to Durham Bolts games, probably about half of them through the season or something like that. But I just didn't know if you were in the organization when they were all attached or not. But yeah, it does make sense. They keep pumping those guys from Durham to Tampa Bay, and that Rays organization finds some diamonds in the rough. So it's cool that you were a part of the organization at any level, and also probably a cool aspect for guys like Jack and other guys who are hoping to just play at first a high level or second, maybe go to that next level with your tutelage that you could give them on doing that and getting to that point. You also said you were from North Carolina. Which part of North Carolina were you from?
I'm from Pitt County. I grew up right outside of Greenville.
Okay. So that's maybe where the baseball talent comes from. I know that ECU area is pretty good with the baseball.
Yeah, they win it. I try to explain it to one of my friends that like you're almost like required to win at every level if you grow up there. Like they expect the little league teams to win, they expect the middle school team to win. Like there's always a high school state champion every couple of years out of that area, and then they expect all the colleges to win too. It's in baseball and softball. Like so, if you play in that area, it's different. It's different.
Yeah, it's taken very seriously. I've seen some clips and heard some things too. But being in North Carolina, I hear about ECU baseball all the time as one of the bigger powerhouses. So let's jump from there into your guys' out of conference slate. Jack, I'll have you start here. Is there one that sticks out? And if you want to give me the first one because it's the first one and that you're just excited to get going, that makes sense. But if there's anything else that sticks out, just let us know what you're looking forward to as far as out of conference play is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't be more excited to be going down to Tallahassee again. It was really awesome to go down there last year and just a great experience. And I mean, as we said, we've been inside for a while, so getting down in that good weather, great atmosphere, that's going to be super fun. And then I'm actually looking forward to playing Michigan State. My best friend, Caleb Koski, he plays for Indiana. And as you were saying, with maybe that Power 4 conference, us or the Big Ten, we always kind of go back and forth. I give him some crap about that. So we'll finally have a common opponent between the two of us. So I'm excited to play them and take it to them and see how they do against them. But those two should be fun. And then UVA is always a really, really fun game. They have one of my favorite stadiums that we've played in, at least last year. So good little rival right down the road. So those three are going to be really exciting.
Nice. I like that. Coach, I know there's one that's going to be circled, but you can expand on that one or tell us, the other teams that are going to stick out to you on this out of conference slate.
Yeah, and then, well, obviously, definitely looking forward to seeing the guys at Radford and still talk to their coaching staff probably every couple of weeks, honestly. I was only there for a year, but I felt like I made some really, really long-term friendships and got close with the players really fast there. So excited to play those guys. They should be really good this year. And then, I used to work at Richmond, so that's always one. That's where I got my start, so it always has a special spot. Obviously, anytime you get a chance to play an ACC school or a Big Ten school, I think you get a little more up for those a little bit. And then all the other schools you look at them, they're also really respectable too. I mean, College of Charleston is always a top dog in the CAA, and you got East Tennessee State has been really, really good recently. They do a really good job. And then George Mason won 40-plus games last year, so they'll be tough. Albany, we're going to play them their first game of that weekend. Their starting pitcher just got preseason pitcher of the year, so that's going to be a challenge. So all these are going to be really, really good tests. I mean, I can go down the list. I mean, GW, they get a former Major League hitting coach as their head coach. They always play well and play tough. So it's going to be a tough slate. Coach Ike doesn't back down when it comes to scheduling.
Yeah, not at all. This is a heck of a slate. And what's cool is a lot of them do happen to be regional for you guys. So not only is it a tough slate, you're going to test yourself before you get into conference play here, but you've got some big names as a part of that, which is even better. So that's really cool to see and to know for anybody listening. And I didn't tag it because so many of these schools that could be ranked or maybe not by the time you play them, I didn't put the rankings there. But to note, since it will stay this way because there won't be any games before this happens, the matchup versus Florida State is a ranked game for you guys because that is number 16, I believe, Florida State coming into the year. So a great opportunity. We saw, for those that remember just 2 years ago, that's also where you guys started off and got the series victory down there in Tallahassee. So a great thing that helped propel that team into the postseason, I believe, because of those few ranked wins. And I think they even stood a chance at a sweep. If I'm just trying to remember this off the top of my head, I don't think they swept, but I think they had a chance to sweep there, but taking that series. So very, very interesting matchup to see. Again, a very cool one to see, especially for you guys. Like you said, we've had enough of the snow and ice. It's time to get into some warmer weather.
For sure.
Play some baseball and some baseball weather for once, right? Jack, I think I saw a note that your sister either has been or is a part of Indiana's rowing team.
She was. she just got her first job. Actually, she graduated with her master's from Indiana in data science last year. But her first 4 years of school, she went to school just to go to school. Rowing is not a thing in Minnesota really at all. And so she just went to school, and she ended up in the dorms with the freshman rowers. And they were putting flyers up saying we need walk-ons because the team is huge. It's like 75 girls or whatever. And they're like, hey, Maddie, like, come walk on, come try out. Because she was a 4-sport athlete in high school. And my aunt had done rowing, so she calls her. My aunt convinces her to try it. She goes to tryouts, does one day, gets COVID. Coaches still because it was right in the middle of the COVID, so she got shipped off to a different dorm. But coaches ended up letting her on the team as a walk-on. She worked her way as a walk-on to getting half of her school paid for and being a big contributor in one of the top 3 boats. So super like unexpected for her, but she made all of her lifelong friends through rowing, and it's super inspiring for me seeing her just work as hard as she could through that. She rowed through broken ribs, and like you should see these girls' hands after they row. Their hands are like torn to the bone, and she just pushed through all that, and really inspiring. Just she's such a hard worker, and I definitely look up to her a lot.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. I was going to ask you about the football aspect, but I'm glad you went into that because that's so much more detailed about rowing. I mean, I don't really know anything about rowing. I've seen it done on TV. I've never seen it live, but that is a really cool aspect to what she was able to accomplish. And it tells you about the pedigree of athlete within your family. That she's just like, yeah, I'll just, attempt to walk on as a rower. So that's pretty cool that happened there. Did she happen to go to any of the playoff games or national championship or anything? She a football fan by chance?
Yeah. So her and her fiance went down to Atlanta for that game for the Peach Bowl, I believe it was. And they had a blast, obviously, but her fiance, they just got engaged. He is a ride or die, just sports fan in general. And I think he had been to every Indiana football game his 5 years there, which the first 3 years was miserable as an Indiana fan. So that just shows how bought in he was. But she made a comment. She said, if I was in Bloomington right now, I would have burned my couch on the street after they won, which I know a few people did. But, yeah, she was pretty ecstatic about it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was really hoping on the outside that we would see the James Madison versus Indiana matchup in that CFP. I just thought that would be the coolest storyline that could possibly exist. Coach Sig against his former team, and the love affair from afar. But then it comes to a head where you guys, one of you's got to win to move on. But seeing your sister was at Indiana at one point in time was definitely an interesting aspect to that there. Speaking of football, let's just stay on that topic again. Were either of you pulling for anybody specific in the Super Bowl? Just a quick note on that, Coach. Seahawk or Patriot fan, or didn't care?
I'm not. I'm a Bears fan, unfortunately. So normally kind of rough that time of year for me. But
okay.
I'll say that like my oldest was pulling for the Seahawks, even though he used to be a Chiefs fan, and then he told me he's an Eagles fan now. So I'm not really sure who our house was pulling for that night.
Oh man, Jack, any rooting interest in that game?
No, I'm a big Vikings fan, and this is the first I'm hearing of Beej being a Bears fan. So
I keep it close.
Might not be saying hi to him tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, I wasn't really. I was just hoping for a good football game. So.
Yeah, I was too. Unfortunately, that's not what we got, obviously. But Jack, the nice thing for you is you go home with your purple on and you're set, man. You could be in Minnesota wearing purple and being accepted. You could be in Harrisonburg wearing Vikings stuff, and it's all the same. So that's great there.
That's true.
A nice, easy transition. All right, let's jump into the sunbelt slate a little bit now. You guys open with Georgia Southern, but you're playing some of the heavyweights in this conference. Obviously, the two teams that made the postseason last year in Coastal Carolina, Southern Miss, but we've got the Cajun team who's routinely very good as well. We got a Marshall team that might be on their way up. You've got the ODU battle, of course, that we always like to talk about with the rivalry with you guys and and them. App State's there. That kind of a rivalry's kind of building a little bit too. Jack, I don't know if there's one that you're leaning towards for a specific reason or just one that sticks out to you a little bit more than some of the others here.
Definitely excited for them all. I'd say I'm really excited to play Southern Miss. We didn't get a chance to play them last year. So it'll be fun to just see their talent and take it to them. And then we had a pretty exciting series against Georgia Southern at the end of the year last year. So definitely excited to get them at home for the first weekend.
Coach, anything specific you're excited for in this first year in the Sun Belt for you?
All of them. New facilities, places I haven't been before. And then at ODU, one of their assistant coaches actually coached me in college, so that would be fun to be coaching against him again.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, that is a very interesting. So you haven't been to any of the Sun Belt schools previously by, playing with Radford and the other teams you've been with?
I've been to – so I played in the Big South with Coastal, but it wasn't the Coastal of now with the stadium. It was nice, but it wasn't what it is now. So I haven't seen the new version. And I've been to Georgia Southern, but that was in 2021 because we had to – because it was right after COVID. We had to take 2 buses. We couldn't fly. It was a long weekend. It was a long drive back there.
Yeah, that would be one heck of a journey. I'm in Chapel Hill specifically. I've driven from here to Statesboro, and that was a long trip. So I can only imagine going from Maryland down there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like 14 hours. So it was crazy. I literally remember like parking my car in front of my house. My wife basically walking out the door, us high-fiving each other, and her going to work and me going and getting my boys ready for school and then going to bed. It was crazy.
Oh, man, I'd say so. Are you guys – remind me, Jack, are you guys on the road for the Cajuns? I don't have the schedule up in front of me. Are you hosting the Cajuns this year?
We went there last year, so that one's at home. We're going to Coastal, Ark State, okay, Louisiana Monroe, and then to ODU, I believe, and Georgia State.
You'll have one last bus lot boys trip before they get their new stadium down there.
I know. I'd been hearing that it might be done, but then I have a summer ball teammate that he plays for Georgia State, so I texted him, and he was like, yeah, we just broke ground, so I think we'll be still on the field.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but the cool part is, ODU is getting a revamped one, right? And I think that one, I believe, Coach, maybe you can tell me too, is that one will be done for this year, but it just may not be in it like opening day type of thing, right?
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a few weeks into the season for them. The renderings look pretty cool. Some of the pictures that they've been posting.
Yeah, definitely. I just retweeted some of those things from the Monarchist, I believe, the podcast over there, that they do a great job and taking some pictures for everyone to see what the progress was on the stadium. Obviously, like Jack said, the Georgia State Stadium a lot further away. I know they wanted to break ground and be closer to completion before now, but unfortunately that's not the case. So, Jack, you got to take part in the Cajun Cooking Club. We always hear so much about that. Is that like a type of food that you were excited to get down there and try and be a part of that when you were down there in Lafayette?
Yeah, I mean, those types of foods are definitely not on the palate at home. So definitely some unique stuff, crab cakes and that sort of thing that I'd never had. But yeah, that's one of the best experiences, going down there and having them be kind enough to feed us. That was really nice of them. I will say the bus home, whenever you're Sunday, the getaway day, the meals, like it's the worst when it's a greasy meal because you shower and then get back on the bus and everyone's hot and sweaty. So that was a little tough having the Cajun meal after the shower and stuff. But the other 2 days, it was, awesome.
Nice. That's awesome. We always get so many comments about that. Obviously, like the atmosphere down there too. Their fans are very passionate, and they will let you know that. Mm-hmm. And I hear it's a nice park as well. I mean, you go around and do what we do sometimes to try and talk about which one's the best park, and you get all kinds of thoughts and opinions about all that. So it's interesting to hear how feverish they can become when you talk about their stadium or any other stadium possibly being better than theirs. They won't hear it. But you guys get to go to some amazing facilities within the sunbelt. Like we said, it's awesome that so many teams and programs are continuing to pump money into the facilities aspect. Obviously, it's important to now pump some of that money into the team as well, as we know with the transfer portal and everything else. One question that we haven't really asked many people about, and I don't really know why we haven't, but Jack, I need to know what your walkout song is going to be for this year, unless it's going to be a secret. I mean, I guess you can keep it from us, but I'd like to know if you can share it.
Still finalizing, but I'm thinking Get Along by Kenny Chesney.
Okay.
I'm more of a crowd pleaser guy for the walk-ups than some guys like rap to get themselves locked in, but I kind of like getting everyone singing in a good mood. So thinking for Get Along.
Nice. Do you know some of your teammates' choices? Anyone going to be funny? I know last year I went to see Coastal versus UNC, and the guy at UNC had the Lion King, and then everybody would put their hands up as they're holding Simba, as a little funny thing, and the crowd had fun with it. You guys have anybody, a jokester on the team that's going to come up with something crazy for a walkout song?
I think Reese Moody's is going to be pretty funny. He's one of my best friends and roommate. He's got a pretty funny rap one that fits right with his personality. So
nice. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad you didn't tell us, because I'd rather find out once, we're watching a game.
I can't remember the name of it, and I'll let him be the one to introduce it on our first home game. Perfect.
Coach, I got to get your opinions on what you're hearing when these guys are playing their walkout songs. Obviously, you had one, so I'd like to know what that was. But what are you thinking when you hear some of these rap songs as part of the walkouts? And maybe you're a rap guy yourself. I don't know.
When I was playing, I came out to more rock songs. I do listen to – I probably have every type of music on my playlist. The guys laugh when my phone is the one hooked up to the speaker, because I have everything from country to Latin music to rap to rock to songs my kids have put on my phone, like Brain Rot rap from Fortnite or whatever it's from. I don't even know what it's from. It's Italian. It's not even in English. So, but the guys' music choices in the cages are normally pretty good in the weight room, so I'm not too worried. The only one I worry about is probably Jack Cannizzaro, our catcher. He either goes from like super hard rock to like this EDM dubstep rock that doesn't make sense. Yeah, his is too wide. It's too all over. His one scares me. Everybody else should probably be pretty good.
Nice. I like that. Did you have a specific one that you remember from your playing days that you used a lot?
Change it every year. My favorite one, I was told, I don't know how true this is. I was told the superintendent of the school, who was a 4-star general at VMI, name was General P, Benford P, that he said after my sophomore year I wasn't allowed to come out to that song anymore because it was too loud or something, too heavy of a rock song. It was and it was by like a Christian rock band too. It wasn't even like it was like, demonic or anything. It's just a lot of guitar. But my last one in college was Sweetness by Jimmy Eat World. That was my senior year.
Nice. Okay. I like that. I like the Jimmy Eat World pick. I'm not sure Jack even knows who that is, but
no. Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. All right. Well, we'll get to this one here, because this one's usually pretty fun, and I want to hear some thoughts and opinions. We got a guy from Minnesota. This is the most northern guy we've had on the show yet. So maybe he's practiced one of these disciplines, but we've got the Winter Olympics going on right now. If you could participate or wanted to do an event within the Winter Olympics, Jack, which one would you pick and why?
I think I'd have to go with hockey. I played hockey my whole life, all the way through my senior year of high school. And watching, I think it was last year, the Four Nations face-off with Team USA, fighting Canada for booing the anthem and all that, gets me pretty patriotic. So definitely hockey, but then if I were to add another, I'd probably try, honestly, curling. I watched that the other night, and pretty boring, but they were getting after it, and the crowd was getting into it, so that might be a fun one.
Is curling something it's picked up in Minnesota, where it's colder and icier than other places, or is it still not kind of caught on up there?
Yeah, there's a few curling clubs near me. can't say I've participated, but there's a few hockey rinks where it'll be hockey rink over here and then curling club attached. So
I got it here too. You say you played hockey. I'm a big hockey guy myself, just to be clear here. So the pick that you had is good. I like that one. But the Minnesota is the state of hockey. For those that don't know, it's like official name. But these guys go crazy in the state tournament in Minnesota with the hair for hockey. They come out to the ice without any helmets on, or buckets as they call them. Did you do something crazy, Jack, when you come out with the hockey hair flowing back in the day?
Yeah, I wasn't fortunate to make it to the state tournament. Came up short my senior year. We were ranked like 4th in the state, but the way it works is you have to win your section to go to the state tournament, and our section had the 1, 2, and 4 teams in the state all in the same section. So didn't end up making it, but one of my best friends did, and he made a pretty mean mullet with his hair, and yeah, they definitely have fun with it. I was going to dye my hair red probably we were a red high school if we did make it. I was joking around, but never actually made it there.
Nice. Well, it was a good idea. I'm sad that we don't have some blackmail material on that red hair to put up during baseball season, but maybe if there's a postseason for baseball for you guys this year, you get some purple going in there. You can do it that way.
Cards.
I love it. All right, Coach. Let's see. I mean, do we got another hockey guy here? You going with something else?
Well, my dad's family is really big into hockey. Actually, my dad is actually in the Hall of Fame at Iowa State for hockey, even though he was a baseball player. So. But I cannot skate to save my life. So, I would love to do speed skating, but I was terrible on the ice the times he took me. But as much sledding as I've gotten in recently with my kids, I would say probably like the skeleton or the luge or the bobsled or something. I feel like I would have decent experience with them here recently to maybe have a chance.
Nice. So, all right. So I'm going to make you pick between the skeleton and the luge because I got to know. I feel like the risk takers and the guys that are scared of nothing are picking skeleton because you're going head first. With the luge, maybe a little safer. You break a leg first if something bad were to happen, but you're not going with the head first. So I got to know which one you had to choose if I made you.
Well, first the luge, I don't understand how they see where they're going. They're laying flat on their back. I don't understand how they see at all or how they slow down. But I would probably try the skeleton. I mean, I did unfortunately almost ran over one of my sons while we were sledding, so I probably need to go head first so I can see better where I'm going. So I'll probably go with the skeleton.
Nice. I like that answer. I mean, not the part that you ran over your son, but the fact that it makes sense, and it seems more adventurous and fun, albeit probably more dangerous. But as we saw, I think the U.S. team, 3 of the 4 guys missed the bobsled the other day, so nothing is safe on these things. So. I don't know, but I mean, guys, this has been awesome. I've been very much happy to share this with you guys on a 250th episode again. So this has been a fun one. What I like to do before we get out of here is have people hear where to follow you at. If there's just one spot you want to name, or if you're on, 4 platforms, whatever you want to do, I'll let Jack go first because it seems like all the coaches have to look up what they use as their username and just default to saying, just message JMU baseball,
I think my Instagram handle should be jack.anderson112. So you can follow me there.
Well, it's pretty simple. It's just Biagini baseball. I'm on whatever Twitter's called now, X, I guess, and Instagram.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for being a part of tonight's preview, and look forward to getting this first pitch thrown out on Friday, and you guys get to go partake in a little bit warmer weather. Again, good luck the rest of the season, and hopefully we can have you guys back on in the future.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.